Hey, what's up, guys? I am going to make a quick video here. Now, this is probably going to be one of the most important videos you'll probably ever hear. And this has absolutely nothing to do with anything specific, but has everything to do with everything in general. Now, I'm sure if I said to you, do you want to know what the secret of everything is? You'll probably be like, secret of everything? That's insane. What do you mean secret of everything? The secret of everything, the way you are, the way you act, the way you converse with people, the way people converse with you, and so on and so forth. The way you apply what you do to your job, to your profession, to your family life, to everything, everything. Okay, you ready for the secret? Here it goes. Your words. So I'll start off this story real quick by just stating that I wasn't really the brightest or best student, okay? And when I say brightest or best, it doesn't mean that I was dumb. It just means that, you know, in the educational system, scholastically, that kind of confinement wasn't my particular place. But in that spot, I'm a natural born artist. And I say that because out of all the teachers that I've had, there was one teacher who actually found a way to do what he chose as a profession, and that is to teach. And this teacher, to this day, you know, I'm gonna forever be grateful, and I believe was a huge catalyst, or at least an impetus to what I do in my career and why I always try to speak to you guys. Ironically, he was the language arts teacher, so it just so happens that vocabulary and the understanding of words and information is something that I heavily love. But one of the things that he did, you know, when most teachers fail their students, you know, because students can be a handful, and I know for sure that I was. But what happens is he saw that he had a project in me, if you will. How is he going to teach this rambunctious, out there, outlandish kid? And what he found out was if he uses the thing that I love the most, which is drawing or art, he can use that and kind of infiltrate, if you will. And that's exactly what he did. So he took something that I love, something that I'm creative in, something that I know how to do, something that I can literally do all day, which is my art. So I draw. So what he did was, how was he going to get me to read these books so that I can pass my class? So what he did was he said, okay, Joseph, read this book, which right off the bat, I heard read this book and turned off immediately. But he said, but I want you to do is find the protagonist in this. So, wow, we were just learning about protagonists in our language arts class, and now I got to find out who the protagonist is. But he says, when you find out who the protagonist is, I want you to draw him or her in your creative way. Okay, so, I heard creative, I heard your, and he wants me to draw. So, boom, I'm sold. So I read the book, of course, and I did the art for it. And I was applauded for it. And I got to understand the book better because I had to look for who the protagonist was. And in the process, I was able to extrapolate from there the visuals that I would then use to draw this. And so he used that method on and on and on and on with me. And what he did was he always lifted my art abilities and my artistic abilities. And he made me feel good about myself, and he made me feel like there was more that I could do. And when all of the teachers, you know, and I would say rightfully so, you know, but you know, not everybody's called to teach, but they pushed me away because I was a problem child, and that would probably include, you know, my family as well. You know, I mean, it's not easy to teach, okay, but because he cared so much about maybe not me at the moment, but cared about his responsibility as a teacher to do what? To teach. And then in the process, find a relationship and caring for me, the individual, the person he's teaching. And then find a method that we can communicate on was ingenious. And long story short, I mean, I already made the story long. But basically, he was a massive influence in my life, and it's how I treat people this day, with regards to helping and teaching. So that all said, which is kind of the base for everything, I said words. Words are the secret to everything, literally everything. You know, if I was mute and I couldn't actually verbally speak the words that are coming out of my vocal cords, I can still learn sign language. I can, even if I were to say yes or no, you would know what kind of yes or no it was just based on what I project. So for example, if someone asked me if I wanted cake and I went, or if someone said that I want cake and I go, well, there were two different types of yeses there and not a word was spoken. And the same is true with no. Do you want to eat your broccoli? Do you want to eat your broccoli? Right? So even the way we, emote certain feelings through our body language is still a language nonetheless. It's words that just haven't manifested themselves through the vocal cords. But I consider them words because when you're reading a book, you're reading words. They're not speaking to you through the auditory system. They're speaking to you through your heart. Now, that said, it's a perfect segue for speaking about when you're passionate about something. It is important to say it from your heart. Now, words obviously have the power to bring somebody up, to raise them, to elevate them. And they also have the power to bring somebody down, to completely make them despondent towards life. And that is important because it's not only the words, like I just mentioned a few minutes ago, that you verbalize, because we can say a lot of things internally. Like, I don't have to outwardly say in the mirror, I don't think I can do this. Man, I'm just a loser. Man, everything I touch fails. I don't even have to say that verbally. I can say it in my heart. And in my heart, that vibration is still going to have some sort of frequency that jives with my brain that says, okay, well then if this is who you think you are, then this is who you think you are. And so it's important that when we talk about words in particular, that we understand that there's the vocal portion of it, and there's just the understanding of words. And this is why I'm heavily keen on the words. So when people speak to me, I'm having a conversation with people, I listen to the words that they say, because their words will give everything away. How they say it, how it's how it's emoted, and how it's translated. Because translation is a very important thing as well. But once you kind of go through this lexicon in your brain of words and understanding, and this thesaurus that we have throughout the years of living, then we understand what a person is saying, and there ensues communication. So communication, while it's very, very important, prior to communication, there are the words themselves. There are the understanding of words. So again, if I say to somebody, man, you're stupid, or you're stupid, there are two different ways that can be read. And of course, when a person receives it, that's exactly how it's felt. And so these words that are first intangible and then become tangible through our vocal cords, and then reverberated and vibrated into the person's ears through those three little tiny bones in our ear that are the eardrum, and then transmuted and translated into our brain, are felt. So they become physical. So someone can physically feel ill about what somebody said to them, or physically feel elated about what somebody said to them. And this is why it's important that when we speak to people, we understand what we're saying, how we're saying it, and in the way we're delivering it. And conversely, when people speak to you, it is important to understand where they're at. Now, they may not have the type of vocabulary that you have, and it might be their vernacular of the day, where they're at here, but you understand and you know that person. So when they say something to you, that may be the limit of their vocabulary. So a quick, real time example would be if I said, I looked out the window and I said, wow, it's raining a lot out there. And then someone in a different vernacular says, man, it's raining cats and dogs out there. Now, we're both saying the same thing, but I understand based on where they're at, again, in their vocabulary, the same meaning that I just said. And so that's why it's important also to understand the person. And so when words are limited with regards to vocabulary, the words are still resonated in how it's emoted, how it's said, okay? And this is very important, and this is why some people can have dialogue with others and some people just absolutely can't. And this is why the world is in the horror show that it is now, because it's hard to even say anything without people getting offended, and that's simply because of their ignorance or lack of vocabulary or understanding of words. Now, the onus falls on you to go out there and be a studious individual, okay? And when I say individual, I'm talking about a human being who wants to better themselves and understand at a different level the type of words that can be said or that is said to them. And this, to me, is where we all fall. And there are a couple of scriptures, and I'll probably put it right here, that resonate with me. And one of them is in Proverbs. And that is that life and death are in the tongue of the person. So you could be spewing things, or you could have grown up where people said you were dumb, you were stupid, you were ignorant, you were this, you were that, and it all had negative connotations attached to it. And so you said, well, I'll show you, and you may have built this life that may have been luxurious and beautiful, and you were making six figures and you owned everything, but you did it principally based off of the wrong thing. So you said, I'll show them. And what happens is that's kind of like building a castle with sand, and that's not the right way to do this. The way to elevate in anything is to first understand who you are, what your purpose is, and understand the stability that you provide for yourself and for your loved ones and for everybody else around you. Because if you don't know that, you'll spend your whole life trying to do this for this person, and I can tell you right now, while you might appease and please 3 people here, you're going to double that of the people that you can't please. And that's just the way it's going to be. But what happens is, based on how you grew up and what is your motivator or your driver, instead of these 3 pure, crystallized, clean, crystal, real believers of you saying, yes, this was cool, you're going to believe the 6 people who really mean nothing to you in your life and didn't contribute anything. But because you have a wrong understanding of why you do what you do, you're going to lean towards this side. And unfortunately, that will collapse and blow up in your face. So I'm hoping you understand exactly what I'm talking about here. There's another verse, and I'll put it right here, right now. And that's from the book of Job. Now, Job in scripture went through a horrendous period in his life, much like you and I go through now. But if you read it, you will go, wow, how did this guy even withstand this? So I'll belabor the whole point of what happened after and so on and so forth. But he was considered an upright, individual, someone who was righteous in God's eyes. But there is a verse that is obscured, and it was just placed in there because the guy had everything. And it says, the thing that I feared the most has come upon me. So there was about 3 chapters prior to that one little verse. And presumably, he did have fear and doubt that something would inevitably happen. And while he never verbalized it, it was internalized. Because we have another scripture that says, Jesus says, it's not what goes into the mouth that defiles a person, but what comes out of their mouth, because it comes from their heart. So you see, even before it comes out of your mouth, out of your vocal cords, verbally, it's already in your heart. And so these sequence of calamitous events begot him and really put him into a turmoil. And then we get that little glimpse of how this happened. He says, the thing I feared the most has finally come upon me. And this is the thing that he dreaded. And this is how we all are. We manifest these things in our lives because somewhere in the root of our heart and our subconscious, we don't believe we're worthy enough, or we don't believe that we could do this, or even if we did do it, we're always proving somebody else wrong, and so on and so on and so forth. And all of the roots of all that are placed in the wrong place. And I say, once you understand who you are and you understand your purpose, that is the right setting and fertile soil for the words that, regardless of your vocabulary, but the words that come out of your heart that then emanate and permeate through your life and the people that are around you. And so this is very important, guys, because really at the end of the day, wars are started, and wars are diffused. Fights, everyday fights, school fights, physical fights, word fights are all started by words. What we feel those words are conveying to us, and how we say it and how it's said to us. And ultimately, these words are what drive our passions. So once we understand that, but we also understand in context the vernacular and the person who's spewing or spouting these words, then we can understand and make an educated guess as to how we should be fueled by that. So at the end of the day, guys, listen, it's everything in your life that's happening now, to you, for you, about you, with you, under you, over you, really hinges around your words and the reality that you brought upon yourself now. Now, there are things and circumstances that are outside of our forces, of course, but the words that we say to us and how we combat these things will ultimately determine how you come out of this. And that's a very important thing. All right, so this is nothing to do with martial arts, but yet it has everything to do with everything. So if I were you guys, I would really start being wise about the words that you choose and the words that are coming out of your mouth, so that when you speak to people, you speak to them with some sort of decorum. And then lastly, for those who say, well, this person spoke to me this way, this person, I'm going to speak to them this way. Listen, you reap what you sow in life. You treat others how you would like to be treated. Well, I'm not going to treat them good until they treat me good. Well, then there you go. You get exactly what you get. But what if you treated people, regardless of who they are, if you treated people the way you would like to be treated? And then this way, you plant seeds everywhere you go, and then hopefully you get that lucky lotto number that has a group of people or even a single person that actually treats you the way you treat them. And that's really what sums everything up in life. What are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to others? What has it been that other people have been saying to you that altered your life, either in a good or bad way? And it's very important that you understand this now, because no matter what happens from this moment forward in life, you're going to find that the root of whatever response you gave came through words. And the etymology, the root of those words, are important to know. And again, it's not anybody else's responsibility, it's your responsibility, so that you can continue to better yourself in every way possible, and then hopefully be some sort of light in a very dark world. All right, looking forward to hearing from you guys as usual. And for all of you guys, I check my analytics, and I get thousands of people who watch the videos, and not too many people share it. This message right here, this has nothing to do with any race, any color, any profession, anything specific. So this is one of those universal messages that I believe can affect every single one of us. And it does affect every single one of us. So if you can pass this message on to somebody, a loved one, a group of friends, whomever, there's a million different social media outlets. Please, I would implore you to do so, and it will greatly edify the people that listen to it. All right? Looking forward to hearing from you. DM me anytime. Peace.